Welcome to our Devos. This week we're looking at the blame game, a game that nobody wins. A Christian that is constantly blaming those around him, blaming those that came before him, blaming everyone but himself or herself for their situation is going to be in trouble. And unfortunately, a lot of times as Christians, what we do is we have a tendency to want to look for meaning, but really we're looking for a culprit. And one of those areas where we tend to find our culprit is in our circumstances. When we make mistakes, when we find our lives in shambles, we blame our circumstances. Oh, if I would have just been a little richer. If I would have been born across town instead of in the city. Oh man, if I would have just had enough rich relatives, unlike the poor ones that I got stuck with, maybe, just maybe, we blame our circumstances. And we put ourselves in a situation to not believe that we are capable of allowing God to work in our life in such a way that things are different. Our circumstances do not determine how our life is going to shake out. Now, let me put a pause here. Some of you, your circumstances are terrible. You've come from a bad set of circumstances. You've come from an abusive home. You've come from a poor home. You don't have the right attitude. You don't have the right skills. Okay, all those things might be true. But my question to you now is, what are you going to do about it? I mean, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do right now? What can you do? Don't focus so much on what you don't have and what you can't control. Focus instead on the next step that God is calling you to do. Taking the next step is crucial to getting out of the bad situations that we find ourselves in. The Apostle Paul, if anyone could complain about his circumstances, it would be him. He started off at the highest point of his life when he was a religious leader. Then God took everything away from him when he became a follower of Christ, and he had to rebuild his reputation, becoming one of the main proponents of the newly formed Christian church. But shortly on the heels of this wonderful ministry opportunity, the Apostle Paul finds himself imprisoned. He finds himself stoned, not in the way that they do in, Colorado, not that kind of stoned, okay? So a bad stone, like he finds himself on the edge of death, being tortured, okay? Being constantly on the run from the law because of just simply doing what God has called him to do. And he's in jail. A lot of the New Testament is written from him being in jail, okay? Which is crazy. So you want to talk about circumstances. This guy should be saying, oh man, if I could just get out of here, I could preach the gospel more. Oh man, if I could just get my money back and I could gain access to all my resources, I'd do a lot better. But that's not what he says. Instead, what he says in Philippians chapter 4, verses 11 through 12, not that I'm speaking of being in need, for I have learned whatever situation I'm in to be content. I know how to be brought low. I know how to be abounding. In any and every circumstance, I have learned the secret of facing plenty and hunger and abundance and need. He has learned in every situation, every circumstance to be content. His circumstances never dictated how he was going to serve God, and ours shouldn't either. Your circumstances right now might not be what you want. You might be in the middle of something that is hurting you that's beyond your control. Let's mourn for a minute. It stinks. It's horrible. Now, what are we going to do about it? Are you able, instead of blaming those circumstances for the reason why you don't follow after God? Or are you able instead to say, I'm going to follow God even in spite of these circumstances? I'm going to follow him and pursue him even despite what's going on in my heart and in my family and with my situation. Maybe God is bringing you through those circumstances so that when you rise above them, you can give testimony to the work that God has done in your heart. Your circumstances are not to blame for making poor choices. So stop playing that game because you're not going to win.